What's good, everyone? My name is Kalen. I'm joined by Luke or Ray Swag, and this is the Huddle Break podcast. How you doing today, Luke?
I'm good, man. How about yourself? I took a little vacay time at the beach, and I'm ready to get back to it. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I started my summer classes last week. They're pretty difficult, my senior year. It's some of my last classes, but I'm getting through them. Pretty busy right now. How was the beach? Where'd you go exactly?
Just on the coast of North Carolina, man. It's nice and windy, not too hot. I know a lot of the U.S. is experiencing some major heat, so prayers up for everyone there, because I know it can get pretty intense. But the NC coast was a vibe. It was mid 80s. It was really nice.
Yeah, man, it's hot as hell here, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Oh, out in the desert, it's just dry heat, dude. It's better than humidity, but it's still
hmm
it's still miserable. It's pretty much 100 every day. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for today's show. We're getting so close to the football season, dude. We're 59 days
Woo!
away until Thursday night football down in Tampa Bay.
Come
Gonna get
on
to
now.
watch my Dallas Cowboys upset the defending Super Bowl champs. But
Gonna be a
yeah,
good one.
yes, sir. Today's show is pretty much all about football. We're gonna be breaking down the AFC, the entire AFC today. So all 16 teams, their record, who's gonna win each division. But we're gonna talk about UFC and the NBA first. So let's get into UFC 264. It was so entertaining, man. We got to watch Sean O'Malley beat the hell out of that poor guy with green hair, dude. He let that guy hit him 300 times. We got to watch the former Carolina Panther and Dallas Cowboy,
And yep.
Greg Hardy, get knocked out after one swift punch to the head. Then we got to watch that really good fight between Gilbert Burns and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. It went the distance. It was really good, honestly. I mean, everyone knew Gilbert won, but it was still a good fight. But finally, we got the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight, which I think was like the biggest fight in a long time. My Twitter timeline was like even crazier than some of these, like the Logan Paul Mayweather fight, like all that. It was crazy, man. Did you get to watch the fights?
I did. Yeah, I watched them. The first one, the Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chris Mutino fight, that was really interesting. I thought O'Malley at, I think he was minus 600 odds, and Mutino was plus 1,000. I thought Mutino was going to get absolutely clobbered, which he did. However, he lasted essentially the entire way.
Yeah.
The ref called it with like 30 seconds to go in the final round, and he took an absolute beating, but he kept going the entire time, and he was the aggressor, even though he lost the fight. And I definitely think he grew himself a fan base, and it was definitely impressive on like an 11-day notice.
Yeah, Herb Dean called it with like 33 seconds left in that last round.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly was surprised he didn't call it earlier, dude. That guy wasn't even defending himself. I mean, his hands were at his face, right? But Sean O'Malley was just punching between his hands and he wasn't even like moving. He was just taking the punches, bro. That guy is like has sustained more damage within his first UFC fight than like any NFL player has ever sustained. Like that was crazy. That guy's head was like bopping back and forth like it was a bobblehead, bro. I could
Yeah,
not believe it.
and he was like 4 inches shorter with the 4 inch less reach as well,
Yeah.
which is like crazy.
He did
But
not stand a chance.
yeah, dude, the main fight. Oh, what could have been, like
I know, man. It's so disappointing.
I definitely thought that Poirier won the first
Oh,
round,
for sure.
right?
For sure.
But although I do think Connor had some nice leg kicks early on, um, but yeah, Dustin did such a great job with the grapple and getting out of the guillotine. He's such an
Yeah.
expert on that. I think he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, I believe they said, and his prowess in that really showed. And it really sucks that so many injuries in different sports, and injuries
Yeah.
just suck in general, man. Like I really hope Connor can come back from it. I don't know if he will, dude. Like, but we'll see, man. But
Come back and
if
fight Jake Paul.
yo, oh my word,
um,
I'd love to see him beat Jake Paul.
that would be fun. Do you think that he broke his that he like cracked his ankle or something on one of those
So
kicks on Poirier, or do you think it was just a freak accident?
I'm not exactly sure. He easily could have like loosened it and like hairline fractured it in one of the kicks, because
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that one fight. Like I don't remember which UFC it was, but it was a few UFCs ago where the guy straight up just
Yeah.
broke his leg in half with a kick.
Yep.
So it's definitely that sort of like that angle can do it. It's possible a hairline fracture. It ended up being a tibial compound fracture. Um, what they ended up having to do surgery on is tibia, which is your shin bone.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not sure, but regardless, it was really sad to see, and
I
hopefully he can come
know.
back from it.
Really disappointing, man. That first round was like electric, dude. It was
Yeah, it was great.
entertaining from the second it started. The whole 5 minutes, it was awesome.
Oh, it was on your edge, edge of your seat, edge of your seat.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, what can I say? UFC has been putting out content recently. I think it's becoming really mainstream right now
Extremely. Yep.
compared to what it used to be just a few years ago. I'm looking forward to the future events. Izzy fighting whoever he's gonna fight. Whoever fights, I'll be watching from now on. But yeah, let's move on to the NBA Finals. The Suns are currently up 2-1. The Bucks won last night against the Suns in Milwaukee. Game 4 is in Milwaukee on Wednesday, July 14th at 8 p.m. What do you think's gonna happen this series, Ray?
I do think the Bucks are going to tie it up. I think we'll have a 2-2.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think I'm honestly at this point I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't think anybody expected Giannis. A lot of people didn't thought Giannis might not even play the whole series, let alone the first game.
Yeah,
And now he's it looks like he's back to 100%. I mean,
feasting.
I'm pretty yeah, he's dropped 40 plus the last two games. He's like over 10 rebounds, over 5 assists. Like it's like never been done except by I think LeBron did it and I think MJ did it or else Kobe, one of the two, but um Giannis's numbers have been incredible. He's looking like LeBron in Cleveland for the
Yeah.
first two games, but last night he actually got some help from a supporting cast and they won by 20. So I think the Bucks definitely are back in the series. I do think they win tomorrow or Wednesday. You said, and I really don't know where the series is going to go. I thought the Suns had it locked, but now I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I think they'll tie it up too. I hope it goes the distance, man. I saw that one tweet went viral where the guy was like, obviously he had like tweeted out a bunch of predictions and deleted them as they died off, but he had said like the Bucks are gonna win in Game 7 with like a random score in 2020, and he tweeted it like in 2016 or something. Um,
Funny.
but I wanted to go the distance. I wanted to be a good series because I know when the playoffs first started and the Suns won against the Lakers, I was really disappointed and I was like, damn, like this is gonna be an unentertaining playoffs. And I was like, I think the top three teams from the East will just run through the West. But it's turning out that might not be true. So, you know, very entertaining so far. Let's hope it goes the distance rather than just being like a 5-1 or a 6 or sorry, a 4-1 or a 4-2. But we're going to move on to the main topic for today. I am so excited about this. I love talking football, I just look forward to this the entire last 2 weeks that we've been preparing it. We're going to be going through the AFC, talking about each division and who we think is going to win and each team's record, and talk about it a little bit with each other. We're going to be starting off with the AFC East, and in the AFC East, we'll be starting with the Bills. How do you think their season's going to pan out, Ray?
Listen, I mean, they had a really encouraging season last year. I think Josh Allen's really coming into his own. It really helps. He finally has a bona fide number one wide receiver in Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
Sean McDermott is a unbelievable coach. We had him as a defensive coordinator for the Panthers back in our Super Bowl run, and he's shown incredible leadership. He's got that defense playing hard. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, and all the boys over there. And I think the Bills are going to have another fantastic season. I've got them at 14-3, 14 wins, 3 losses right now, and I've got them winning the AFC East.
yeah, I have them at 14-3 too. That's my prediction. Winning the AFC East, obviously. They have a pretty easy schedule. They do have to play the Chiefs in week 5, which I don't think they'll win. Um, then they play Tampa Bay in week 14, I think, and I don't think they'll win that because it's in Tampa, of course. Um, and then my last loss I had for them, I think they're gonna lose in Foxborough. It's gonna be December in Foxborough, and I could see them losing the Pats. But those are the only 3 losses I really had them having. I don't see them losing. Their schedule is pretty easy besides, obviously playing in Kansas City and Tampa. But yeah, I mean, with Stephon Diggs added to that team, their defense is solid, and he took a leap last year, and I think he's only going to keep getting better and better each year, just like a lot of quarterbacks. So we definitely agree on that. Let's move on to the Pats, man. We got the Pats, the leader of the AFC East for so many years with Tom Brady. Um, do you think that this season they will have another, successful playoff run, or you think they're going to be lacking?
I think they're still kind of in rebuild mode here. I think them drafting Mac Jones was really the heads up to that. Hey, we don't think Cam Newton is going to be the long term answer here, and they did re-sign him, and I think he can still have success. But I think with the Bills' dominance and really the Dolphins and Jets both looking the best that they have in maybe a decade,
Yeah,
um, I don't think it's the. I'm not saying the Patriots will go away, but I definitely don't think that they're going to make a playoff run is 8-9. I don't have them making the playoffs this year. They
yeah,
certainly could. They've got greatest coach of all time, basically. So anything
yeah,
could happen. They've got Dante Hightower back. A lot of Stephon Gilmore, a lot of really good defensive pieces. So they easily could. I just don't think they'll personally, but they'll definitely be a fun team to watch.
yeah. So I have them as 9-8, so just swapped. Pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a prediction that Cam will start the first three games, and then come week 4 against Tampa Bay, we got Mac Jones starting.
Whoa,
And
versus
I think he's
Brady.
gonna take Brady down, and it's gonna be
Nah,
like this is like obviously a
interesting.
stretch, but
Okay,
it would be so entertaining, and I hope that's what happens. But I got Patriot bias in my blood. My dad's grew up in Massachusetts, so I've gotta support him and believe in him. They have a really good home field advantage, especially as it gets colder up there in Foxborough. Um, and I think they'll do decent. I think they'll if Mac Jones can turn out to be the game manager and an above average player like Tom Brady is, I think they have a really good future ahead of them. So yeah. I'm gonna move into the Dolphins. Uh, you know, they could be good. I've got them at 11-6 to start or for this 2021 season. I believe in them. I believe in Tua. He's got Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, and Texas Tech legend Jakeem Grant. Of course, you can't forget him.
there you go.
They beefed up the O line. They have a good defense, and it's just completely on Tua. If you believe in Tua, I think they're going to be a successful team. And if he plays the way he should, um, I think they will be a successful team, and I think they'll have 11 wins, and they will probably make the playoffs in the wild card. What do you think?
Yeah, the Dolphins is interesting, right? Because they're a really interesting team. I love their coaching staff. I like a lot of their pieces. They have a good defense. I gotta switch up. I gotta switch it up, and I hate to do that, but I was a big fan of Tua in college. I thought he was gonna be an absolute beast, but he just hasn't impressed me. And I understand that you got to give people room to grow, but his sort of intangibles and a lot of his decision making and even his throwing has just kind of been underwhelming for me, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
I would love him to prove me wrong, and I really hope they do well. I think he's a really good kid, and I love the Dolphins. I was a big Dolphins fan growing up, so I hope they do well. I've got them as 7-10 right now, just because I think there are just teams that are better than them in the AFC, and a lot of those important games, I don't think they're going to come out ahead. But we'll see. I could be wrong. They are a strong team. They've got a strong core there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are there's a lot of media hate or not hate, but like just talk about
Scrutiny.
Tua because he doesn't know. He came out saying like he didn't know the playbook that well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are taking that too serious. Like they're taking it as like, oh, this guy didn't study the playbook. Like that's not the case. Like
Yeah.
he knew what he was doing. Like he just didn't know it perfectly, and that's normal. It's not normal for rookies, but we're in an age where everything can be said, and and social media spreads things like wildfire. I guarantee he's not the first quarterback to come into an organization and not know the playbook perfectly by his first season. So I think this year he's gonna have it down. He's gonna take over this leadership role with the Dolphins, and he's really gonna excel. So I guess we'll have to see. I mean, you know, it could go either way. I could definitely see it going either way. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Jets. Uh, what do you think the Jets are gonna do this season, Raceway?
Well, I definitely like the direction that they're going. I love the hiring of Mo Salah.
Yeah, same.
I like Zach Wilson a lot personally. I think he's a gunslinger. He reminds me a lot of a Brett Favre type of a player. I think they go 5-12 would be my record prediction, just because I think they are still a really really young team. I know me and Kalen both like the draft.
Yep.
I think right now they're just not quite there, especially defensively. But I definitely think in term it'll be a promising 5-12, and I think they're headed in the upward direction.
Yeah, I had them as 5-12 too. Their schedule's pretty difficult, which is weird for a team that had such a bad season last year. And I agree with you. I don't think this is the season where they like make the playoffs or win even 7 games. But it's going to be better than last season, and I think Zach Wilson can be that guy. I mean, I think this QB class has been is extremely talented, and will be one of the best QB classes in a long time.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to watch Zach Wilson play. I'm excited to see the Jets and see how they handle it, how Robert Saleh handles this team. But yeah, we're on the same page pretty much. That's gonna wrap up the AFC East. We're gonna move on to the AFC North, where we're gonna lead things off with the Ravens. How do you see the Ravens season playing out, Rhea?
I think the Ravens this year are going to be like what people thought the Ravens were going to be last year.
Yeah,
The Ravens remind me a little bit of the Bucks, of how like people think they're always going to be insane, and then they like never are, or they're never as good as people thought. And then like next year, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, it's like the Browns' turn." And then I think the Ravens are gonna come out with fire. I actually have them as 15-2. Their only losses being to the Colts and to the Browns. I think the Ravens are gonna come out with some fire this year. I think Lamar's got a chip on his shoulder now. People are saying, "Oh, he can't win playoff games." I think he's gonna have a good season. We'll see what happens, but I like their chances of at least winning the AFC North this year.
so you said 15-2.
I got him at 15-2. I think
Sheesh.
definitely. I think it's definitely at least a lock for the AFC North. Personally,
So you're
I think
saying that it's gonna be Lamar on MVP level because they went 14-2 as MVP year. You're saying they're gonna come out like that, or he's
I
gonna
think
come
he'll
out
be
like
on.
that?
I think he'll be on MVP level. I don't know if he's gonna win the MVP. I think he'll be definitely like a lot better than last year.
Wow, that's bold, man. I mean, I
Hmm.
think they're gonna be good. They went 11-5 last year. I've got them as 10-7 this year, so it's not that different. It's just like 2 game difference. I don't think they're gonna win the AFC North. I think they're gonna be an above average team that probably makes the wild card up there. But that can transition me perfectly into my AFC North winners, which is the Browns. I think the Browns are gonna win the AFC North. I think they're gonna go 12-5. Their defense is stacked. They got Clowney in the offseason. So now, they got Miles Garrett on the left and Clowney on the right. Like that's terrifying. Like I don't even that team got better in this offseason. And realistically, they had a great season last year, and they gave the Chiefs the best run in the AFC in all the teams they played. They had the best showing. So I mean, I could see if OBJ or Jarvis Landry got injured that could have problems because their wide receiver department's a little short. They got like Rashard Higgins and Donovan Peoples-Jones. They're 3-4. So that's the only way I see them maybe taking a step back. But I think that the Browns are going to be the best team in the AFC North this season. What do you think?
I have the Browns and Ravens switched. I think. I've got the Browns at 10-7 myself. I think they'll be about as good as last year. I think they're very good. I think Baker's can only get them so far though. I don't think he's bad for sure, but I just don't see him as like one of those guys that can just carry them. And
Yeah,
I think we kind of saw last year they can only win one way, which is kind of ground and pound and hope their defense just locks the other team down. So I definitely think they'll make the playoffs. But we'll see. I definitely they could win the NFC North or the AFC North. I definitely see that. Um, but yeah, right now I have to see a little bit more from 'em to really like put them at the top. I'd say.
yeah. Baker's he's a game manager. He's always been surrounded by a lot of talent. Like this offense that he has right now is extremely talented. And I know I think that's probably why neither of us had him in our top 10 last week, but or 2 weeks ago, sorry. I think that their offensive line is I think they were top 5 last season, maybe 6 or 7 at the latest. So that offensive line is gonna be able to protect Baker, and he can dime up OBJ and Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper. Their offense is gonna be just as good. Their schedule's relatively easy. So, I mean, I think we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm really excited for this season to watch the Browns play. But we're gonna be moving on. The third team in the AFC North, which we have, is the Steelers. I have the Steelers going 8-9 this season. They started off 11-0 last season, and then lost 5 of their last 6. So, we will have to see if or sorry, I think they started 10-0 and lost 5 of their last 6. But regardless, we'll have to see where they go. I don't, Big Ben's 39. If he goes down, they've got Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins on their team. They've got a consistent wide receiving core, but it's not above average enough to carry, Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins to a, good offense. So I just don't see them having a successful year or a winning record. Where do you got them, Ray?
Yeah, I don't really agree with them putting all their chips behind Big Ben. I think he'll definitely be good this year, but I don't see them starting off with the year that they had. They start off with Bills, Raiders, Bengals, Packers.
Oof.
That's a tough 4 games.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe they beat the Raiders. I don't know. I kind of think that's a 1-3 start. I've got them finishing 7-10. I think they probably should have hit rebuild mode. I do like their new acquisition in the draft and Najee Harris. We both talked about him.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a great stud, but I think it's sort of just reset time for at least the quarterback position for the Steelers. I think they need to, I really think they could have done well. I think Sam Darnold would have been interesting if the Steelers. I think that'd have been
Yeah,
really interesting.
probably. I mean, I think anything would be better than Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. Like there's got to be like 20 or not 20, maybe 10 quarterbacks in the NFL that aren't starting that are better than those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Big Ben's past his prime,
Yeah,
and
I
so
agree. I mean, he's 39. It's hard. He's definitely past his
a
prime.
lot of injuries, so
Yeah, so I think we're on the same page. Where did you have the record as though?
I had 7-10.
7-10. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so one game off from me. We pretty much
Yeah.
agree there. So we'll move on to the Bengals, the last team in the AFC North. Uh, Joey B got injured last year, so they didn't have the best record. I think maybe similar things might happen this year. I hope he doesn't get injured. They did address their O-line issues, but it wasn't until later rounds. There was definitely some capital in at their pick that they could have taken in the first round that I think would have been better than taking a wide receiver. You want to protect the quarterback at all costs. He's the most important player on that field, and Joe Burrow could be, an extremely talented quarterback. I have them at 4-13 this season. I think that they're gonna improve this year, obviously compared to last year, but they definitely have some work to
Whoa,
do.
whoa! You said 4-13?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow,
Where do you got them?
interesting. I got them at 11-6.
What?
I think they make the playoffs, bro. Dude,
Really?
let
As
me
a wild
let me.
card?
Yes, dude. I think the Bengals are going to be on fire this year, dude. I think this year they're going to be on another level. I really like
Really?
the draft. I think Joey B's putting in work. He's ready to come back. I love the acquisition to gotten him back with Chase from LSU, Jamar Chase, man. I think that's going to be huge for him, dude. They got T Higgins, they got Tyler Boyd. I'm excited, man. Joe Mixon, I think is the power offense, dude. I think people are gonna be really surprised. I think the Bengals are gonna be that one team that surprises everybody this year.
Really?
I really like the Bengals this year. I got 11-6.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. I want him to be successful. I love Joe Mixon. He was a Big 12 boy. Uh, but I don't think that they're gonna they touched their defense a little bit in the draft, but they didn't do much to adjust it. They didn't add any big time players really that make me think that they're gonna actually have a above average defense. And I just think that they didn't do enough to their offensive line to protect Joe Burrow. And if they can't keep him healthy, I don't see how that team is successful. So that's why I've got them down there. I don't see them best case scenario even having more than 9 wins though. Look,
Interesting.
but I guess we'll have to see. Maybe we'll have to put a bet on it. A little friendly bet on the Bengals.
Mm,
We'll see what their over under is in the odds, and maybe make a bet between us. Just that because that seems like something fun.
sounds like a plan.
But yeah, let's move on to the AFC South. which I think is the weakest division in the AFC. And depending how this season goes, I could see it to be the weakest division in football besides maybe the NFC East. Um, we're gonna lead off with the Colts. How do you see their season going, Ray?
Well, I think they're going to have a great season personally.
Oof.
I think they made the playoffs last year
Yep.
with an aging and basically retired Philip Rivers. And I think personally, this is controversial, whatever. I think it's an upgrade at quarterback with Carson Wentz, and he's back with Frank Reich, who he had his MVP caliber year. Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator with the Eagles when Wentz was having his MVP caliber year before he got hurt. And so I think he's back with him. They've got a great running attack: Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor. They've got weapons: T.Y. Hilton, good tight ends. I'm excited. I think it's Darius Leonard at the linebacker position. Some great corners, great safety, Vontae Davis. I'm really excited. I'm really Malik Hooker. I'm excited for these guys, man. I think the Colts are going to come out with some fire. I got them finishing 13-4. I think they'll have a really good season, man.
Sheesh.
I don't think they lose a division game either. I think they run through the
Really?
division.
Oh
Yep.
man. I do not believe in this team. I mean, they went 11-5 last year with Philip Rivers, and I think it's a downgrade with Carson Wentz. I mean, like statistically, he was the worst QB in the league last year besides Dwayne Haskins. Like,
hmm
and if you look at the people he's throwing to now, like it's really not even that much of an upgrade. And neither is the offensive line. Like they have Quentin Nelson and Eric Fisher, but it's not like the Eagles' offensive line wasn't bad. It's like it's a very similar offense besides running backs. Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack are obviously better than what he was working with in Philly, but like T.Y. Hilton is, I mean, he's good. He's not a top 15 wide receiver, probably maybe top 15. And then he's got what, Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, and Zach Pascal,
hmm
Jack Doyle, and Mo Ali Cox. Like he just doesn't have the weapons. It's gonna be you're right. It's gonna be a ground and pound team. It's gonna be Jonathan Taylor show, and I think that Carson Wentz will probably lose his starting position to Jacob Eason by maybe week 5.
What? Okay. That all right, Kalen.
He's
All
just
right,
not he's
bro.
not good anymore.
Come on,
How did
man.
how could you watch him last year and think that he can lead a team to being to 13 wins this year?
Because I think Doug Peterson has no idea what he's doing. I do not think he knows what he's doing personally.
That may be true, but I just he's you watched him last year, all right? You watched the games he played. Outside of the play calling, outside of what of the elements that the coach controls, he wasn't a good quarterback. He was completely inaccurate. It was pathetic. He was quite literally the worst QB besides Dwayne Haskins. And you can't just blame that on a coach. I don't think that the transition from that to a 13-win team is like even possible. I have the Colts at 8-9. It's not bad. I think that they will win 8 games at least. They could win more and win the division very easily, I think. Because again, I think that the AFC South is the weakest division in the AFC. So that'll transition into the team that I think is going to win the AFC South, which is also the team I've probably slandered the most. But that was pre Julio Jones, to be fair.
Okay.
The Tennessee Titans. And the thing is, like, I don't have anything against the Tennessee Titans. I love them. I think that I like Ryan Tannehill. His dad was a Texas Tech Red Raider. He should have been, but he's a scumbag. Um, uh, you know, I think I got them 9-8, so just one win above the Colts, winning the AFC South. Uh, Derrick Henry is a monster, and I think he's gonna take a step back, which is why I don't have them better than 9-8. Since 20, I saw a fact since 20, he entered the NFL in 2015, I believe. He has missed 2 games since he entered the NFL in 2015. Which, when you hear that as like a casual NFL fan, you probably think, yeah, he's like Iron Man. He can't be injured. He can't be hurt. When I hear that, I think, okay, he's due for an injury. He's due to get hurt. He had 400 touches last season. If they're gonna feed him that much again this season, or even if he gets 350 touches this season, he's probably gonna get injured. Because quite literally, 5 years no injuries is not common for a running back at all. Like I just don't think he can sustain that level of healthiness. And their schedule is really hard. They play the entire NFC West. So I think they're gonna win the division, but only at 9-8. Where do you got them, Ray?
See, we both kind of have them at the same. I've got 8 and 9 for the Titans.
Yeah.
I don't think they make the playoffs though. Um, yeah, I don't know. The Titans are really weird, man. Sometimes they seem like they really know what they're doing, and sometimes they're just kind of discombobulated. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I got a weird feeling the Titans are going to take a step back this year, but we'll see. I mean, I'm rooting for them. They're a fun team to watch. They got a lot of stars on their team. I could be absolutely wrong. They could just go like 15-2 or something and blow
Yeah.
away everybody away because they have a bunch of freaking
Stars.
superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe it'll work. They're fun to watch. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they lost Arthur Smith to the Falcons, and I think that could change things up. I don't. That's why I think that Derrick Henry's gonna take a step back, and one of the
Mhm.
reasons that I think that team is gonna take a step back compared to last year. They're obviously, as I've said, they're only my division winners because of how weak this division is. So I guess we'll see. We got them pretty close. Uh, Definitely 9-8 is realistic for them. But we're gonna move on to the Jags, and how do you see their season panning out, Ray?
See, I love the Jags this year, man. I think they're in a great trajectory. And unlike some of these teams like the Jets, who don't have a lot of pieces yet, I think the Jags are ready. They've got James Robinson. They still have some solid defensive pieces. I'm excited for them. I think they're going to show some people. I think Trevor Lawrence is the most NFL ready prospect
Yeah.
coming out of college we've had in a long, long time, probably since Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning even. And I think that the Jags are going to come out with some fire. I got them 9-8, just missing the playoffs, which
Sheesh.
I think yeah, some people would be surprised about 9-8, but I think they're going to be extremely good this year. I like Travis Etienne. I like some of their offensive line pieces. Tim Tebow. But I think the Jags are gonna come out with some fire. I was looking at their schedule too. Wow, it's really easy. They play a lot of Bears, Lions, Broncos. They got
Yeah.
some. They got some easy games. They got some tough ones too, but I don't know, dude. Texans twice. I mean, sheesh. They could get some easy. I mean, Falcons, or I guess that just depends on what some of your opinions on these teams are. But
Yeah, they were easy.
I
They,
think,
they do have a good. They do have an easy schedule for sure.
yeah, yeah.
However, at the same time, they're in the AFC South, which means they have to play the entire NFC West. So that is, I'm gonna chalk that up as 4 losses for them. Obviously,
Nah.
they could take the game from the Cardinals. Uh, I
Oh,
think
the NFC West. Oh,
NFC
you're right.
West.
I thought you said AFC
I
West.
might, I might
Gotcha,
have I
gotcha,
might
gotcha.
have misspoke.
No, I don't
NFC
know.
West is what I was saying.
I was looking at the Broncos, so but yeah.
But yeah, so I have them as 5-12. I think that they're gonna obviously take a step up from that one win that they had last year. Uh, I don't think it's kind of my similar to the take that I have for the Jets. I
Yeah.
don't think this is the year that they'll make the playoffs or even have 7 wins. I think that they need more time to form a team around or behind Trevor Lawrence. They've got DJ Chark, he's a good option. They got Marvin Jones, he's a good option. They got Laviska Shenault, he's a good option. I don't think any of those guys are like a bona fide wide receiver one, though. I think they're all good wide receiver two options on a lot of teams. But I think they really do need a good target for him on that field. Because, in tight end, they have James O'Shaughnessy and God, what's that guy's name? His name's like Chris Manhertz or something.
Yeah, he was on the Panthers.
Yeah,
He's a really good blocking tight end.
yeah, so he just really doesn't have like he has a bunch of consistent players in DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, and Laviska Shenault, which is funny because I think he's the or the this is just a fun fact for everyone. The Jags are the only team who their wide receiver 1 through 3 all have junior in their name, and then their running back one also has junior in their name. So there you go. It's the Huddle Break fun fact of the day. But anyways, I don't see them having a good season, but even with that 5-12 record, they will not be the worst team in their division. So let's go ahead and move on to the Texans, who probably are gonna be the least exciting team to watch this year. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I guess we're not exactly sure what's going to happen with the Deshaun Watson situation, but I'm not going to say regardless of the situation, but I don't think they'll be really that good, even if he does play. Right now, I have them as a tentative 4-13.
Yeah,
They're just kind of a mess. They lost Will Fuller. They've got some like interesting running backs,
yeah, a lot of them,
but
a lot of running
yeah,
backs.
they sort of took the term running back by committee and ran with it, huh? No pun intended there, but I don't know. We'll see. I want to hear your thoughts on it because I have no idea what the Texans are going to do, but I don't think it's going to be too good.
I mean, with their organization, I mean, they're just so disorganized. I think they just need another year, maybe two, to figure things out and make this turn this team around really. Even if Deshaun Watson plays as good as he is, I mean, he's thrown to Brandon Cooks, who is a wide receiver one. An old Randall Cobb, I think he's 35 now or 34. And Kiki QT, who is a Texas Tech legend, played with Mahomes, but he is not like as good as these other teams' wide receiver three. I mean, he's a good player. I hope he has a really good year. But I just don't think that Deshaun Watson has the weapons to be efficient, and I think that defense is going to be really bad. I think they might have the worst defense in the NFL, and I don't think it will even be close. I think they're going to get ran up on. They're going to have shootouts with teams, but in the end, they'll never be able to clutch out because of coaching issues, management issues, and I think a lot of these players, after what's gone down, even if Deshaun Watson does play, it'll be hard to respect him as a leader because you just know that the allegations are probably true, and it's hard to respect someone like that. So, I have them 3-14, so one less win than you do. But I don't see them having a great season.
Agreed.
That'll wrap up the AFC South for us, and we're moving on to a really exciting division. I think this one will probably be one of the more fun ones to watch. We're gonna lead it off the AFC West with the uh Super Bowl losers, the Kansas City Chiefs. Where do you got them, Ray?
Come on now, call them runner ups. Let's give them a little bit of credit. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I think the Chiefs are going to come out with more fire this year. I like them a lot. I got them at 15-2. I don't think anybody would be mad at me putting them 15-2. They're an
Absolutely not.
engine,
Yep.
absolute engine of a team from the top bottom. They're run great. I'm really excited to see what they're gonna run it back this year. I don't see unless with Mahomes' health is the number one thing, but which he doesn't really get hurt too much, but that's obviously the as long as he doesn't get hurt, they'll be fine. So I got him
Yeah.
at 15-2 right now. Not too much to say for me. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're the top dog in the AFC.
Yeah, and they beefed up that offensive line really, really well. So I don't see him getting hurt. I hope to God he doesn't, man. That's my, favorite player in the NFL. I love Mahomes to death. All I want is for him to be successful and healthy for the rest of his life, whether that be in football or outside of football.
Yep.
But I have them as 16-1. Uh, not many games I could see them losing. I have them beating the Bills early on in the season when they play them. They're playing in Kansas City, and I think they're going to win that game. However, their one loss I have to the Tennessee Titans. Funny enough, week 7, I remember last year they had a little trouble. They were losing the game at one point, and they won. I think they scored like 14 in the fourth to win the game. But they lost in 2019 there, and Derrick Henry just ran all over them. He had like 210 total yards or something like that, and he just completely obliterated them. And so I think week 7, Titans will go into that game, and Derrick Henry will just run all over the Chiefs and keep the ball away from Mahomes, and they're gonna win that game, and it'll be the only game they lose next season. I think they're just gonna take every game besides that, including the Super Bowl.
So you got him 16-1, you said?
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Um, but yeah, like you said, there's not much to say. The team's really, really strong. That roster around Mahomes, you could put Deshaun Watson on that team, they probably win a Super Bowl too. You could put probably Josh Allen on that team, they might win a Super Bowl. A lot of QBs would succeed in that environment. So, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next team in the AFC West, which we have as the Chargers. I have them going 11-6 this season. I think Justin Herbert is the real deal, and I think he's going to take another step up in 2021. Something good for the AFC West, for all these teams in the AFC West, is that they get to play the entire NFC East. So, I mean, considering that they get to play the Broncos and Raiders twice and the entire NFC East, that could be 8 wins alone. Like, you know. So I think we'll have to see. But I got them 11-6, probably making the wild card and being a pretty successful organization. How about you, Ray?
Yeah, I have them 11-6 as well. I see the same thing. I think they're gonna have major upgrades in every category here. I like their new coaching staff they brought in. I think they're ready to rock. I think they could definitely make a deep run in the playoffs. And personally, I have them in the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna make a deep run here. I like their quarterback play. Obviously, Justin Herbert's a beast, and I'm excited to see what these guys are gonna do. I think it could definitely be a real fun wild card team to watch.
Yeah, I think injuries are the only thing that could hold this are the only thing that could hold this team back. They don't really have much depth in the wide receiver position. They've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Besides that, they don't really have anything. I think their wide receiver three is Jalen Gutton or something like that. He's uh
Guyton, yeah.
Guyton. They did get Jared Cook, who had a really good season before he went to the Saints. He went to the Saints and then he kind of died, didn't do much. So maybe we'll see a revival of Jared Cook this year. Um, they didn't utilize Hunter Henry like I thought they should have in recent years, but I think if Jared Cook can return, I think he was on the Raiders when he had that really good season, right?
Yeah, he was on the
In
Raiders.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if they can revive Jared Cook and he can become a really useful weapon in this offense, he could be a top five tight end. And that's part of the formula to winning Super Bowls. So when you say you see them in the Super Bowl, I mean that's a very possible outcome. So I look forward to watching this team. I like Austin Eckler. I like Justin Herbert. I love Keenan Allen. I like Joey Bosa. So I look forward to watching them this season. Let's go ahead and move on to the Broncos, who behind Drew Lock will go 5-12 this season. I uh I don't have high hopes for them. Their team's a mess. I don't think that Drew Lock is the tight end for them, as likable as he may be. Um, I think that defense of like Von Miller, Kyle Fuller, Kareem Jackson, Bradley Chubb, and like Justin Simmons can only take a team so far. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I liked their draft pick in Patrick Surtain, so I think he'll definitely be a nice little
Oh
piece
yeah.
there. But yeah, they're definitely in rebuild mode. I think John Elway's taken a step back as well, if I'm correct, from general manager. He's more of like a president of operations now. So the organization's indicated that they want a new someone sort of at the helm there in the business side of things when it comes to player personnel decisions. And I'm excited to see what the Broncos will do. Maybe they'll be okay. They're always kind of a fun team to watch. Any team in Denver, I love the Mountain Time Zone, but I don't know. I got them at 5-12 right now. Unfortunately, I don't
Yeah.
think they'll do very well, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we're on the same page then. Something else I forgot to mention was Melvin Gordon's their running back, you know,
Yeah.
and he's getting older. He didn't have a great year last year. I think he could really take another step back this year, and if he was to get injured or just not perform, they don't really have a good running back. I think that
Let
sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say, let me piggyback off what you just said. Is that the reports from Broncos camp now are that Melvin Gordon may be the backup starting
To
start
Javonte Williams?
to Devontae Williams. Devontae Williams. Yep, he's been pressing
Wow.
them in camp, and it's looking like it's possible that Melvin Gordon will be the backup start of Week 1.
Yeah, and so that just like kind of makes me even more like worried about their season. It could be
Mm-hmm.
even worse than 5-12. I mean, Drew Lock's he's not the best quarterback, and his weapons aren't the best either. He's gonna have Javonte Williams at running back, and his wide receivers will be Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler, and Noah Fant. Like it's just none of those guys are really. I mean, Jerry Jeudy could be, but none of those guys are really bona fide wide receiver ones. It's the same issue I have with the Jaguars, where they're not giving Drew Lock the weapons to excel like he needs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we agree on it. So we don't need to talk about it much more. But let's move on to the last team in the AFC. We saved the best for last. The most classy fans in the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders. Where do you see
Yes,
their
sir.
season going, brother?
So I think that they are going to have to do something different. I don't know if Derek Carr's the answer. He may be, he may not. I don't know. They just seem like that mediocre team that just always like sometimes they're close and they can't get over the hump, and then they just like go back down. I've got them at 5-12 right now. Maybe that's a bit low. I'm not sure, but they seem to have kind of a tough schedule from what I can see. I don't know. Anytime you're in AFC or the AFC West with the Chiefs and now the Broncos there, it's going to be tough. But we'll see. You know, they might string together some wins. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit.
Yeah,
But I mean, they play the NFC, the NFC East, it looks like.
yeah, the
Yeah,
entire
so okay.
NFC
Well,
East.
maybe I'm selling them short with 5-12, but I think the NFC East will be better this year. That's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah, we'll talk about
anyway,
that in 2 weeks.
yeah. I don't know. Right now I've got the Raiders at 5-12, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. What do you got?
I have them at 7-10. They went 8-8 last year, so it's not that different of a projection than what they performed last year. I don't think they're gonna outperform themselves in 2020. They're another team that doesn't have a bona fide wide receiver one. And I think that's important when you have quarterbacks that aren't above average. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. Like, he's not bad, but he's
Hmm.
not top 10. He's probably not even he's probably maybe top 15, maybe 15, 16, something like that. Um, but he's thrown to Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards, and John Brown. Like, there's just no one. Like, John Brown was great with Stephon Diggs taking a lot of attention away. But come to this team, he very well could be the wide receiver one and taking a lot of attention. They didn't even use Henry Ruggs last year. So I really like he had like 35 targets in 2020 and he played every single game. Like that's 2 targets a game. It's disgusting. It's like I don't know. The coaching staff isn't great. Derek Carr is a very consistently average quarterback. Between the Chiefs and Chargers, I don't think they're going to take a game from either of those teams. They always give the Chiefs a fight, so they might. They beat them last year. Um, but I just don't see this team being very successful. I think Darren Waller is probably the third best tight end in the country. He's extremely talented, and I think that they just need to lean on him pretty much every game. And with not having much wide receiver talent, it's going to be hard to lean on him because he's just going to get doubled. So, I think that 7-10 is a pretty safe pick for the Raiders. I could easily see them winning 8 or 9 games based off their schedule, but I think the safest is probably 7-10. But yeah, so we wrapped up the AFC. We're gonna be talking about the NFC next episode. Really excited for that. Are you excited to talk about our teams?
Dude, I can't wait, man. I can't wait, dude. We're gonna have some interesting debates next week or next pod.
Yeah, we'll probably release it that last week of July. Hopefully we're not too busy. I've got a bunch of schoolwork going on and other stuff, but I think it'll be fun, man. I'm so excited. I love talking football. I could do this all day long. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I love this shit, and we're gonna be back in 2 weeks. Really excited for that already. Gonna be thinking about it and talking about it tonight, probably. Thanks for watching, and thank you for taking a break from the huddle with us.